What is up, guys? My name is Theo, and today we are talking what's in my camera bag. I've wanted to make one of these videos for quite some time, but I just didn't really have all the gear, or at least enough gear to kind of make it seem like there was a point to make this video, I guess. I've been slowly accumulating gear here and there, and now I feel like I have kind of a well-rounded setup to kind of show and share with you guys. So hopefully it's a decent setup, hopefully you guys like it, and let's kind of just get right into it. But first, real quick, for those of you guys who do not know me, my name is Theo. I do a lot of wow, I cannot talk today. I do a lot of photo and video content here on this channel, so if that is your thing, definitely consider sticking around and hitting that subscribe button. We do have a lot of videos planned here for the very near future. I'm also a Fujifilm shooter as well, so if Fujifilm is your jam, definitely stick around. Again, lots of stuff to come in the very near future. Now on to the gear. First things first, I think we should definitely start out with the bag. I am currently rocking the Chrome Industries Nico camera backpack. I hate to kind of start things off on kind of a negative. I do like this bag, but there's more negatives to this bag than there is positives. And that's just because of, I guess, priorities. The zippers on this bag are terrible. Like, I'll just straight up say it. I don't know if it's just my bag, but the zippers are just, I feel like they're not properly aligned or not set up properly for the shape of this bag, or I don't know. I constantly have to force in the main flap of the bag to kind of fit back inside of it so I can zip it closed, because otherwise it sticks out. It's just, I feel like it's just not proportionate, or the sizing wasn't done right. I don't know. And then the zipper for the top portion of the bag for like whatever miscellaneous things that you have, it gets constantly caught, and I constantly have to kind of like manhandle, I guess, to kind of zip it around and zip it closed. It's a great bag as far as the amount of space. It's perfect for what I was looking for, but zippers, that's the main thing I'm going to be using with this bag. But other than that, as far as storage wise, it has everything that I wanted in it. I liked how deep the bag was, because I am rocking a vertical grip on my camera, so I can put the camera in with the vertical grip on it and not have to constantly unscrew it to put it back in the camera bag. So that was a big plus, and as well as putting some dividers kind of halfway up the bag so I can kind of stack lenses on top of each other. I do shoot Fujifilm, so these lenses are relatively pretty small, so I can kind of stack them on top of each other without it being too big of an issue. I love that as well. The straps on this bag are super comfortable. I like how their sternum strap is their signature seatbelt. That's just kind of a nice feature to have. Other than that, everything's great, except minus the water bottle holder. It doesn't expand. All the other bags that they have that are not camera bags, it expands, so I don't know why they didn't do it on this one. But you can't really fit much in there, so I never really end up bringing my water bottle with me. So, but yeah, other than that, it's for storage wise, it's great. Functionality, it's terrible. So keep that in mind if you are looking into this bag. I was going to do a video on it, but I wasn't really excited to do a video on it, and I wanted to be excited to make it for you guys, and I just, because of the problems I was having with it, I just decided not to. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I will. The next topic, we're talking cameras. Then my main body is the Fujifilm X-H1. Again, I am rocking that with the vertical grip. I got this back during the holiday season when Fuji had this on a super discount. Got a great deal on it, and I have been loving it ever since. I haven't really been able to use it as much as I would have liked to, just because of current events and this whole pandemic thing. I plan on using it a lot more in the second half of this year, so again, stick around for a lot more footage from this camera. My second body is the Fujifilm X-T20. That has been my main camera for quite some time. That's what I started this YouTube channel with. Absolutely love that camera. It's great. Love the size. Love just the form factor of it. Size, form factor. Anyways, it is definitely a great B cam to this X-H1, and I absolutely love it. Alright, so now moving on to lenses. Now, the first one on the list is the 18-55 2.8 to f4 kit lens. This lens is on my camera about 80 to 90% of the time. This lens is great. It's plenty sharp. It's a 2.8 on the wide end, so I can get a decent amount of light when I need it. And a decent amount of separation. This is my go-to vlogging lens. Having that little bit of separation when you are vlogging is nice, and I can get a little bit of that with this lens. The OIS is also great. It's great for when vlogging, and even better when you are pairing it up with the X-H1's IBIS. You can get some pretty amazing smooth footage when you are pairing this lens with the X-H1. All right, now lens number 2. This is kind of the second lens to the matching set of the first one, and that is the 55-200 f3.5 to 4.8, I think. Man, these variable lenses make these names super long. Anyways, this lens is also really great. It is kind of the second half to that matching set to that first kit lens. You do get a very wide range when it comes to focal length with this lens, even more so than you would a 24-70 equivalent. You're getting an extra 100 millimeter of focal length to a full frame equivalent than you are the standard to 24-70 equivalents. So a little bit further reach. It is nice. It is great to have. I've used it quite a bit on some of my favorite photos. I've actually gotten at that full 200 range. So it's great. The OIS on this lens is also really good. You do get that very like floaty kind of stabilization with this lens. So I've actually gotten some really great footage, some really good video footage while using this lens. Again, even pairing it up with the X-H1, it's even that much better. All right, so next lens on the list is the 50mm f2. This was actually the first lens that I bought when I first got my X-T20. I got it mainly for photos. I think I was kind of getting into portraits at the time, which didn't really end up becoming a thing. But this lens is great. I definitely like shooting video with this lens as well. That the compression you get with this lens is very nice, and even when you don't really have a very shallow depth of field, I just like the look that this lens provides. And if you throw this thing on the X-H1 with the IBIS, then you get some decently smooth footage when you are shooting at that tight focal length. But this lens is great, plenty sharp. Photos with this lens are nice and sharp. They're great. And then again, with shooting video, they're just as good. One thing else about this lens is the focal length kind of falls right in the middle of the other two lenses that I was talking about. But the nice thing about it is an f2 lens, so it is nice to have if I do end up needing a little bit more of a shallower depth of field that those first two lenses can't really provide. So it's a great addition to my kit. All right, so on to lens number 4. It's going to be the Rokinon 12mm. That's going to be the Rokinon 12mm. That's going to be the Rokinon 12mm. That's going to be the Rokinon 12mm f2. How many times is it going to take me to say that? This is the last lens that I bought out of this set, and I was really looking forward to actually adding this to my bag, being able to kind of shoot some of those kind of ultra wide angled shots. It's something that I've never really had before, so I was excited to kind of really experiment with this focal length, but I kind of got it right before this whole pandemic thing happened, so I haven't really been able to get out and use it. But I do look forward to using it later on this year. But the nice thing about this lens is it kind of rounds out my whole lens setup. These are the 4 main lenses that I keep in my bag. And with this, it kind of covers that ultra wide on the front end. And with the other 3 lenses, it does cover me all the way out to 300 millimeters. And if I do need that shallow depth of field, I do have that 50 millimeter that I can get a nice compressed, decent amount of separation when I need it. All right, so rounding out the lenses on this list, it's not really a lens, but kind of an addition, kind of an accessory to these lenses, that is macro extension tubes. These ones specifically are the Mikey brand, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know, I've heard different versions, but these things are great. They actually work with the autofocus in the camera. You get some decent results when you really need to get close up, or kind of just mix things up with your footage and get that really up close and fine shallow depth of field look when you need it. All right, so now moving on to audio. So first item on the list is going to be the Comica VM10. This thing is my go-to vlogging mic. It's been my main microphone actually for quite a while here on this channel. But this thing is great. The main thing I love about it is it's not battery powered, so it is literally plug and play basically. It uses the battery from your camera to power it, and yeah, it's been great. I have no complaints on it. I don't think you can actually get this one on Amazon. There is actually a version 2 of this microphone on Amazon. I don't know if they sell the first one anymore, and I don't know if there's actually a difference in the actual hardware of the microphone. But I think the main thing is they did upgrade or like change the actual mount of it. It's a lot more thinner and a little more streamlined. It is a lot better. I wish I actually had that version of the microphone mount. But I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna throw this one away just to buy a mic that's probably the same mic, just comes with a different stand. I mean, I don't know. Anyways, all right, so second item on the audio list is gonna be the Rode VideoMic NTG. This is something that I had relatively recently. This has been the microphone I've been using for the last few videos. When it came to actually upgrading my microphone, I was looking at either this microphone or the D3 Pro, I think is what it's called. That one was about $50 cheaper, but this microphone actually had a couple other extra features that I was looking forward to, just to kind of have some versatility in my kit, and that was being able to use it as a USB-C microphone, like for voiceovers and whatnot. And the other is you have the option to split the audio and record one side of the audio at a lower dB so that you don't end up clipping anything if whatever you're recording gets super loud. I thought those things were worth the extra money, so I ended up going with this one. And it's been great. I've been loving it so far. The quality of the mic has just been worlds better than the comical mic I was using before. Didn't realize I took those off. Anyways, moving on to the third item in the audio department. Moving on to the third item in the audio category, and that is the DD HD-TX. Now, I got this recorder to kind of pair up with the NTG. Now, I saw a video by Tommy Calloway where he was comparing this microphone and this recorder to a much more expensive setup that he normally uses for his videos. That's well over $1,000, with this only being a $500 setup, and he was getting very similar results as far as audio quality and just the kind of the sound that it was producing. And just from that video, I liked what I was hearing, and I thought I would add it to this setup. Funny enough, the HD-TX actually got a firmware update that lets you use any microphone you want as a USB-C microphone. So kind of a little bit redundant, I guess, now with this update. I think maybe if I knew that ahead of time, I might have ended up getting the D3 Pro instead of the NTG. I don't know. I guess it would have been nice to save $50, but then again, that audio split feature in the NTG is super nice to have. But this is kind of a new addition to my setup, so I'm still kind of figuring out. I haven't actually been using it just yet. I'm just recording directly into camera. I didn't really want to use it until I kind of figured it out for myself. So that is going to be something I will be using here in the very near future. All right, so now moving on to the next category, and that's just memory cards. Now, as simple and as obvious as that sounds, we all need memory cards to record our footage and our pictures with. So I am just rocking SanDisk Extreme Pros. I have about 4 of them and a couple of micro SD cards to go along with them, but they've been great. I haven't really had any issues with them. With Fujifilm cameras, you can kind of be hit or miss. I know Lexar SD cards don't really work the best with Fujifilm, so I just wanted to stick to SanDisk because I've heard nothing but great things from them. So haven't had any issues. And the case that I'm keeping in is just a cheap Amazon case that I found. It's not quite the most durable one, but it is something nice to kind of keep organized and kind of just keep them all together. So on to the next thing. No camera bag would be complete without some sort of action cam. And I am rocking a very old school, very classic OG, if you will, the Yi 4K action cam. This is kind of an older, out-of-date action cam, but I haven't really had a need for an action cam. That was something I got a while back for something very specific, and ever since then I haven't really had a need for it up until as of recently. So I do plan on upgrading this to something a lot newer. A lot of these newer action cams have really great stabilization, and I kind of found that out the hard way with my last video, putting this on my chest walking around downtown. So I definitely want to do a lot more of those types of videos, that kind of that POV downtown shooting, but I definitely can't do it with this camera. I'll be upgrading to something a lot newer very, very soon. Moving on to batteries. We all need batteries to power these electronics that we're using. So I have about 5 or so Fujifilm batteries, as well as a couple of Wasabi batteries. I mainly use those on my XT20. My XT20 doesn't really require that much power, so those work great for the XT20. As well as the charger that came with it. I love that thing. It's USB powered and it's super small, so that thing is great. A couple of batteries for the 4K as well, and also my Anchor battery pack. It is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery, and that works great, especially pairing that up with something like the Wasabi charger. It's a USB charger. You can literally plug that in and be charging batteries while you're on the go. That works great, as well as it is a USB-C power delivery battery bank. So say for example with my XT20, if you have a USB-C to a micro USB cable, you can power the XC20 continuously by plugging it into this battery. So that can come in super handy if you're ever in a situation where all your batteries are really dead and you don't have time to charge them. You can just wire up and plug it into that, and you have continuous power for however long 10,000 milliamps will last. That is a super unique setup that I haven't really had a need for. Again, it's kind of more of a backup, but it is there if I need it, so I always bring that cable with me. Shout out to Reggie B for that battery pack. I actually won that in one of his giveaways, so appreciate it, bro. But yeah, that about does it for what's in my camera bag. Other than a couple of random miscellaneous things like an air blower or like a action cam clamp that I use, that's about everything. Again, this isn't a very extravagant or fancy what's in my camera bag. This is stuff that I've acquired over the last couple of years, and I'm still slowly adding to it. But I felt like it was a very well-rounded setup. That was something that you guys were watching that could kind of pick something out of all the things that I have inside my bag or for a specific reason. So I hope you guys got something out of it and found something in this video that you guys maybe want to add to your camera bag. Well, that about does it for what's in my camera bag. If you guys did enjoy this video or got something out of it, definitely hit that like button. It is much appreciated. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.